Thank you, Cheryl. And is everybody okay with being recorded, first of all?
Yeah.
We all good with
Now
it?
you're being recording.
Thank you. We appreciate that. So we have a dual purpose today. Stella's going to be running the show, but I was actually asked by my executive director, Jessica Gosa, if we could do a quick little shout out to our friends at Subaru. They have, I don't know if you're familiar with what they, you probably have seen the commercials on TV, the Share the Love, and Richard Gere is one of their, his dad used to deliver Meals on Wheels. So they're somewhat famous. Subaru gifted us with the Subaru 3 years ago, and now they have the Share the Love event where they give money back to different participating members of Meals on Wheels of America. So we are proud to share that we're one of their members of the Share the Love campaign. This is one of the 4 national Share the Love charitable partners supported through this campaign. So from today, which happens to be today, is this kickoff of the campaign through January 4th. Subaru of America will donate $250 for every new Subaru vehicle purchased or leased to the customer's choice of participating charities. Participating Meals on Wheels members like us, like FoodNet Meals on Wheels, will receive a share of the donation raised by Subaru and their state. Last year, FoodNet Meals on Wheels was the recipient of over $5,000 in support through this event. So it really does help us a lot. And we appreciate Love Living at Home being a partner with us and doing this kickoff campaign. So so we just want you to know that this cooking class is sponsored by Subaru of America. And the one last fun fact about Subaru is that over the 12 years, Subaru of America and its participating retailers have actually donated more than 176 million to its charity partners. If you are planning to purchase or lease a new Subaru this year, consider selecting Meals on Wheels as your charity of choice. It'll help us keep delivering nutritious meals and other important services to seniors right here in Tompkins County. So thank you for letting me do a little commercial. Any questions about that? No? I told Stella this morning that I've been a Honda girl most of my life, but after seeing the philanthropy that we've received, that I probably will switch to Subaru for my next vehicle. But for right now, I'm a minivan mom, and I'm going to stay that way for a while. So
You get residuals if we record this and replay this.
Yes, you might get a little kickback, right? No, I can't promise that, but we do appreciate you helping us out with this. So, okay, I'm going to let Stella take over here while I change my setting out so you can see me cooking with Stella.
Okay, great. All right. So I'm going to share screen again. Let's see. Oh, hopefully I can do that. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, so today we're making butternut squash soup. And here's the ingredient. It's very simple. I have the butternut squash. It's actually like fresh. I have a whole one and I peeled it an hour ago because I don't want to let everyone see me struggling to like peel it. It was very hard. Yes. So yeah, here's my butternut squash. I put it in microwave for 6 minutes. So now it's kind of like softened. And what else do I have? An onion, salt and pepper as usual, and olive oil. I couldn't find fresh sage, so I had the very expensive bottle of rubbed sage and rosemary.
Stella, here's a tip I got from a recipe, and I use it now when I'm making butternut squash soup because it is such a pain to peel and cut and all.
Yeah.
I take the whole butternut squash, I cut it in half lengthwise, take out the seeds,
Okay.
brush it with some olive oil, salt and pepper, and then I roast it face down in an oven until it gets all soft, and then you can just scoop out.
Okay. So it will detach the skin after.
Yeah, pretty well. And it also gives it a nice depth of flavor because it's been roasted already.
Yep. True. Yep.
The-
Pick mine actually, but I did the cheater method.
I recently had spaghetti squash, and trying to cut that, even just cutting it was difficult. So I just threw it in the microwave, cooked it for about 10 minutes, and then it was much softer and everything went much more smoothly. It was still hard in the sense that it hadn't spaghettied yet, but I bet if you put the entire butternut squash in the microwave, it'd be a lot easier to handle
Yep.
over 10 minutes later.
It was really difficult just by cutting it. So now I'm going to just cut my onion.
Hey, is it just me or Stella, is it possible to take the recipe off? And
Yes.
so that means we'll see you in full screen?
Sure. Yep. Okay. Right. And let's just briefly look over the cooking.
Oh, and maybe you prefer to have it on. I'm sorry if that's the
Oh,
case,
no,
but
that's fine. That's fine. Yep. So briefly look at the cooking instruction. Just heat everything up and cook the squash. And then, well, looks very easy. Actually, this information is just for me. So I'm going to quit sharing so everyone can
oh,
look.
good. Thank you.
Good job, Stella.
Yep. Are you cooking also?
I'm cooking. Yes, I took my Subaru thing down and now I'm cooking.
Yeah.
We still love Subaru. Thank you, Subaru. But now we're cooking.
Yeah. And my very messy cutting.
Method, which some of you might like. I call it, I'm the cheater. Stella's the real scratch cook and I'm the cheater cook. So I found this at Tops. It was diced butternut squash. Sometimes you'll even find this at the produce section of different stores where they might dice it up for you. This was in the frozen section. You could steam it, but I thought, oh, I'll just try this. I normally do the method that Stella does. I take the big butternut squash and cut it down the middle. And like you said, Paula, I like to roast it in the oven. And so I just did my normal, I took this out of the bag a little while ago and I roasted it for an hour with, and I'm really crazy about cinnamon. So I put cinnamon on top of it too. Yeah, this recipe, there's a lot of different variations in this recipe. Is it okay if I'm talking too much, Stella? Is that all right while you're chopping?
Go ahead.
So I suggested this recipe. It's one of my absolute favorites. It is,
That one bag, what you have there, was that one bag's worth?
I actually used, good question, Joe. I used two, yeah. And Lorraine, thanks for the comment. Yes, you could also use the mash. That's even more of a cheater method. Yeah, there's a lot of shortcuts just depending on what your time's like, what your interest, how much interest you have in doing it. Another cheater method I love, and Lorraine, I've talked about this when we've done classes, is the pre-diced onions. Okay, so Stella, again, is true to form, being an amazing dietetic intern, is cutting up her onions. And Kelly, being a crazy mother of two kids, has her diced frozen onions from Tops or from any store, really, you can find them at. So that's what I'm going to do, is just throw these right in here.
You know,
I
cutting-
cheat by buying the mirepoix from Wegmans. It's already got everything all diced and mixed.
Oh, right, that's another great way to do it too. Yeah.
You know, cutting onions really makes me cry. And occasionally I have some friends who stop by who don't cry when they cut onions, and they just chop up a bunch and I freeze them myself.
Oh, that's
So
yeah. Wait, that's another idea too. Is if you've got a lot, you can chop them up and.
I use I have one of the little mini Cuisinarts. It's perfect for just chopping up something like that so that you're not getting quite as
Right.
much crying.
I have one of those too. Yeah. So.
I'm going to move my station over to the stovetop here.
Yeah. So this recipe, the one we found this one online, and I suggested this one because my daughter, who's 12, is now kind of toying with not just being a vegetarian, but being a dairy-free vegetarian, which I'm told is not vegan because she'll eat eggs. So I thought, let's see if we can make this recipe vegan friendly too. So I normally put instead of the heavy cream from the moosewood recipe that I typically did over the years, I would use fat-free half and half in it. And I use apples. So I thought, oh, let's try a little different variation on it. So that's what I'm doing here. You could also use, I mean, I used olive oil, but you could use butter in it too. Olive oil has got more of the monounsaturated fats, but that's more, Stella will talk about the nutritional stuff. The backup singer here. So I'm sauteing my onions. I don't know if you can see. It's always hard to know what the right angle for the camera is for this.
So I'm just heating up the oil.
I do add some cut up apples to mine for a little extra sweetness.
I do too. I might do that actually. I like it. I went apple picking. Oh my gosh, we had done major amounts of apple picking. I better wash my hands because I just touched my hair. For food net, Baker's Acres donated 17 bushels of apples to us. So I literally,
Wow.
I brought them over. We brought them over to the office, but I still am finding some in the bottom of my car. So I'll wash them off. And that's that I like apples in them too. The recipe I typically use, I've used the moosewood recipe, has potatoes in it, and then I think somebody else said they use sweet potatoes in it. So there's a lot of variations on this. That's what I love about cooking. You can kind of make it up, you can throw different things in depending on what you're interested in.
Mhm.
So what are we
Yeah,
doing?
I
next?
add carrots. I add carrots to mine.
Yeah, that's a great one.
So now I'm just trying to saute my onions. It really made me cry. Remember last time I say I never get I never cry when I cut onions, but this time I don't know why. It's the first time in my life I've actually cried cutting onions. So it's very interesting.
Things happen.
Also, it's partly due to the type of onion. I mean, we're getting different cultivars.
Mhm. Mhm. Are you using regular onions or shallots in yours?
I use regular onion.
I thought
I should use
use
shallots. I don't have one, so
I try just as much with shallots as with onions.
And we always appreciate hearing that. What do you feel like the shallots give it a little bit of different flavor versus onions, Paula?
I think so.
I haven't used shallots in this recipe. I have a chicken recipe that calls for shallots, so.
Okay. And I just added salt and pepper to make it a little bit smell better.
All right. I'm trying to find my salt and pepper. I can use a little coarse sea salt in mine.
What is in your pot right now, Kelly?
I only have just the onions in so far.
Yep.
And I'm doing the Cheeto method.
Call for just saute it until softened.
Mm-hmm. Right. I should be using my iPad so you can see.
Looking good.
Looking good.
Yep.
I'm using
My onion is softened. So now I'm going to put my butternut squash to it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the recipe say for this step of cooking the squash, it will take 8 to 10 minutes, but hopefully it will be faster because I put it in the microwave for 6 minutes.
It should be, yeah.
I thought by the magic of TV, you'd have, You know the way. they
How we
do
were
that.
last time. We did, I made the ratatouille ahead of time and we did have like, for the man, here you go.
Yes. Now I'm going to measure some garlic, sage, and rosemary, and ginger. Actually, I have everything. This part is the magic because I have everything ready.
I'm glad she does. I'm not ready.
Yeah,
That's what, yeah.
I have my 1 teaspoon grated ginger, fresh ginger, and my 3 cloves of garlic. Stir it still.
Does everyone know the trick to peeling ginger by using a spoon upside down?
Tell us about that, Betsy. That's cool. Tell us about that.
Well, you basically take a spoon and you turn it upside down. So you're doing, a concave and you use the tip of the spoon to peel the garlic and it comes off like magic
Mm-hmm. Yes.
and leaves much of the garlic intact the ginger intact as opposed to with a knife where you lose half the ginger practically.
I just use a regular vegetable peeler on mine, but I'll try that spoon method. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, I read it recently and it was like magic.
Mm. Right. So I measured 1 teaspoon of sage here. Put everything together. All the garlic cloves, ginger, sage, and how much rosemary do I need? 3. Half tablespoon minced fresh rosemary.
It's too bad I didn't know you needed fresh sage because I took the last of mine from the garden and I've had it drying out.
Oh.
I figure I'll have just enough for Thanksgiving, but I could have brought you some.
I need that. I needed that.
I'm going to, I have a tower garden. Does anybody know about the tower garden?
Yeah, I've seen those. They're really cool.
Right. My friend does Juice Plus, and she had them, and I was really intrigued with it. And I thought during the middle of the pandemic, I'm like, I'm not going and doing anything. So I have it set up. I have to bring it back inside for the winter. But you plug it in, so there's like a water reservoir going through there. So I'm going to start one of my projects over the Thanksgiving break is to get it set back up inside, and I'm going to mostly do herbs and like lettuce and that type of thing. And that for the winter, I think would be really good because I was trying to find basil for another recipe yesterday, and I couldn't find any fresh basil in the store.
Oh, what store was I in? Just the other, no, it couldn't have been the other day, but I could, I could smell the garlic through my mask. They had just the live plants that to buy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Freezing ginger makes it easier to grate. There's another good idea too. So there's lots of good ideas there.
I have a special
ginger
grater.
Ooh.
It's this weird little ceramic thing with all these bumps on it.
While you're cooking, I looked up Tower Garden on, just to see, and there's a huge variety from like $100 to $700,
expensive.
or 33 to $700.
Right.
Kelly, would you mind when this is, when we're done today, sending information to Cheryl about what Tower Garden you have, because you've had experience with it, right?
Yeah, I do. And I think my friend is part of the Juice Plus. She's a Juice Plus distributor, so it's through them. But I think there's other organizations that do it too. We loved it during the summer. We had Stella saw it. So the next time we do a cooking class, hopefully I'll have mine up here and I can show you all what it looks like. And I have to get lights for it for inside the house. So it's neat though to have those fresh, to be able to do that all year round and with your herbs and
A friend of mine who's the dining director at UNH, they put in, I can't remember, or maybe, Joe, maybe it was Colleen at Maryland. Someone I know did that. They put in, just to maximize what little space they had. They put in quite a setup of the vertical garden.
Mhm.
Yep.
I didn't, just copying my garlic now.
So now I'm going to put
Refrigerated garlic.
seasonings in.
Yeah, just looking at these tower gardens, not only is a huge variety in prices, which, are somewhat correlates with the size of them, but I imagine that it also correlates with the, the quality. So it would be really interesting if anybody has any experience with that to share it with the group.
Sure. Yeah, I'll be glad to send Cheryl some information about it afterwards. I've got to
I
look at.
still wouldn't be able to do it because my cats would probably eat it.
That could be an issue too. Yeah, it was my daughter, when my kids were doing homeschool in the spring, my daughter put the whole thing together. She was just like, oh, she loves to build things. I think she's a future engineer. So she put the whole thing together, and then you have to check the pH of it every so often to make sure, like you can see sometimes like if your pH gets out of whack, the leaves start to brown and so forth. So we could always be better about that.
It smells so good here. I have every
It does.
Yeah. So now I'm going to pour my
Here's mine.
stock in.
So I assume you could use vegetable stock to keep it more vegetarian.
Right. Yeah. I have vegetable stock for mine.
How does the flavor of the finished product differ when you use that versus chicken stock?
Definitely would be
Would
different.
you like me to answer that, Stella?
Yeah. Well, never try, but pretty sure it will taste different. A lot different. My vegetable stock, I actually have these two things here.
I think probably sodium content would be a little different.
For chicken stock and vegetable stock. Are you using the same one?
I'm using the cheater method.
Huh?
I can have on my shirt next time, cheater method cook.
I'm
Yeah,
sure how it tastes different, but I guess the chicken stock will be more like just chicken soup.
Right. It might be higher than, I would think the chicken stock might be a little higher in sodium. What does the sodium content look at if you're looking at the two of them side by side, Stella?
Good question. That's a very dietitian move.
It's a dietitian question. Yes.
You know what? The veggie stock have higher sodium.
See, I would have guessed it was going to be the chicken stock.
Yep.
So,
Maybe
Well,
maybe they add more salt to give it more flavor.
Yes.
I bet. You know what? That makes sense, Paula. They probably do.
Mhm.
I forgot.
I mean, I buy the low sodium or no salt added stock when I'm buying the
Mhm.
things like, I do the same thing. I use what you use, those containers of it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. They're pretty good and they stay in the fridge for a long time.
Right. They're less expensive probably overall than buying the.
Yeah. In the long term, yes.
Stella's going to be going off to. You're going to be moving off to
Rochester.
Rochester very soon, so she doesn't want to have too much stuff to have to drag along with her.
Well, I have a lot, especially kitchen equipment. I have an air fryer, waffle maker, coffee maker. There's so much. Yep.
She'll be a good. So Stella it has one more week to go with well now it's like what, just 2 or 3 more days with us at FoodNet, and then she's going to be going to Strong Memorial Hospital in the beginning of the new year to do her clinical rotation.
Correct.
So, Stella, on behalf of Love Living at Home, I'd like to thank you because we've really enjoyed this. It's been, and Kelly, we're hoping you continue it with us, but
We will. We would love to continue. And My friend Lorraine might join me and help in cooking next time, right, Lorraine? Yeah. She might hop in too. Lorraine and I have done some, and Carol was there to help us out too. We did a diabetic cooking series at Titus Towers when we were allowed to see each other in person last fall with our intern at the time. Nina helped out with that a little bit. And it really it evolved into a cooking for 1 or 2 class because they had kitchens that were like this small, like literally their counter space was this big. I'm not exaggerating. So we had to really pare everything down to like, it was a lot of like just convenience, using a microwave type of thing. Their ovens were pretty much like college size, really tiny, like half the size of mine here. So we try to keep it easy and simple for them. And typically we're only cooking for one person. Oh, so somebody has an Aero Garden. Cool.
Yeah, I'm wondering about the Aero Garden too. I looked it up. Lorraine, is this what you use? Can you see that? This is from Amazon and it's their bestseller. I know, Lorraine, I know you're having trouble with your audio, but if you could confirm that perhaps this is what you have, or Kelly, if you could say this.
This is the thing off mine.
Okay.
I Juice Plus, and this was on the higher end.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lorraine says that, yes, this looks like the one that she has. And Lorraine, you like that, right? Again, sorry to with your.
Yeah.
So these are still outdoors. These are not an indoor tower.
We could move it. Mine's outdoors during the summer, but then I moved it. I just took it apart. Kind of ran out of time, but I'm going to set it back up inside the house now for the winter. So they recommend when the frost comes to bring it inside, but you plug it into the wall and the water goes through it, so it's and the plants do really well. You can buy plants in little cup. You can buy them from a distributor. I was thinking about just like starting, I could start them from seeds, but I probably might just buy some, probably some little plants to put in it. If I can find them. I think Baker's Acres actually still has some herbs. I might go over there and just get some of theirs to plant in the little, and they're all around the outside. It's very cool.
So just FYI, because I looked this up, the picture I showed, which Lorraine says is like hers, or in fact is hers, is on Amazon. It's $99.97, AKA $100. And there's 3,000, it's got 4.5 stars out of 5 with 3,925 reviews. So that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good place to start, because I felt like I like mine, but there was a lot going on in our house. I felt like it was a little overwhelming to take care of for me. So I would probably recommend something more like what Lorraine has. Mine was as tall as I am.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's
taking it apart was a big ordeal at the end.
Yeah, that's a commitment. Yeah.
It's a commitment. Yeah. Okay, Stella.
Yes. Great. I have a presentation here, PowerPoint. Again, 1 second.
Here she goes.
All right. So again, let's talk about nutrition. Butternut squash is low in calories, cholesterol-free, fat-free, saturated fat-free, because it is not animal product. And it is a good source for fiber, vitamin C, and copper. And also excellent vitamin A, the beta carotene we talk about again and again. So, yep, it's good for eye health. And it is also diabetic friendly. It is very low in glycemic index and low. And it is an excellent source of polysaccharide. This is a fiber that prevents blood sugar from rising after eating.
Oh, what do those numbers mean? The
Oh,
three-
those number are citations.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Very good job keeping this research-based.
research based. Yep. So everything is evidence based. It's not just me saying it. So a question for you, is butternut squash a fruit or vegetable?
Oh, I like this question.
Hmm.
I would say it's technically a fruit because it is the reproductive material.
We knew Joe would not fail us.
Yeah, boy, what, we have a ringer here who,
Perfect.
We've got Paula can give us like how it works out like in the food service industry, and we got Joe can give us like the food sciences. It's like this is like the dream team. It's like the best cooking class in the world.
and I have no experience in cooking whatsoever, but it doesn't keep me from weighing in.
No, we like it. We like all of you. Here's more of mine. I didn't
So why do we always advertise it as a vegetable?
it's like tomatoes is the same thing, right?
Correct. I mean,
Yeah.
some of it is the way we use it. We think of fruit as something sweet that we can eat, even if biologic. There's a difference between how we use things versus how things are classified biologically, and they sometimes are out of whack.
Maybe if we called it a fruit more, kids would eat it more.
I like that idea, Paula. Yes, I think you're right.
Way of eating a butternut squash. No, you can't. No.
You can't just put it like you would with an apple or a banana, right? It does take a little more preparation, and I think people do feel like I don't eat enough vegetables because of the preparation piece sometimes.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, Lorraine, thanks for the hint about the replacement pods. Oh, there she goes.
Fun fact. So when I was cutting this fresh whole butternut squash, I really got a handful of this sticky sap-like substance on my hand. It was very slimy, and then I didn't notice that and keep preparing other things. And then after a while, it dried and it really hardened, and my hand looks like that. Like you can see the lines. Yeah, it's like a layer of glue dry on my hand. So yeah, it's fun. So I Googled what that is. Said that is a protective substance that it released. So it will, after it was cut or damaged, this substance can dry out and become a new layer to protect the squash. So good
Nice.
for it. Very wise. And again, research show the ratio, the amount of beta carotene, that is the provitamin A content, would be higher in a cooked butternut squash versus a fresh one. Just like the tomato we talk about, the lycopene, after it cooked, it release more of those nutrients. And then because vitamin C, we also talk about a fresh butternut squash is very high in vitamin C, but in vitamin C is a temperature sensitive vitamin. So it will be degraded, destroyed after heated. So generally, the vitamin C content in a cooked butternut squash is not as high, but it's still, there's like more vitamin A in a cooked one, but less vitamin C in the cooked one. So a better way to retain vitamin C in fruit and vegetable is to use microwave versus just straight up putting it in water, because vitamin C is also water soluble. So it will release into the water. Yes.
Well, that's an advantage of soup, is that
Yep, that's a good thing. Yep. It
but
is-
you are using heat sometimes for a long time, which is the downside.
Yes. Yep, the heat.
So if you're making it for soup and you retain the water that it's been boiling in, does
Yeah.
that vitamin C, it might leave squash because it stay in the water?
Yeah, it is degraded. So it's not much left vitamin C in a cooked soup.
So it actually, it actually vaporizes off. It doesn't stay in the water. Is that what you're
No,
saying?
it changes to a different compound that is not active.
Thank you, Joe. Great. Right. Let me see if I have anything else. No, those are all my citations, scientific fact, evidence. Yep. I can't hear you, Kelly. Did you say something?
I just found, I couldn't find my ginger, and luckily my daughter came in, our friend who is also our vegan friend here too. She just rearranged the whole cupboard. She got rid of, apparently I hoard things, food, right, Mary Kate? Yeah, so I was waiting for her to come home to show me where the ginger was, so we found it, luckily, because I didn't have it. All right. There's a
Any-
lot of ginger.
So the
regarding
pandemic is a good time to alphabetize your spices, right?
Yes, yes. I had spices that were older than both of my kids' ages put together. So she went ahead and got rid of that, and then she just cleaned out the refrigerator. So it's a good time, you know, when you can't go out, you may as well get some stuff done at home. It smells so good. There's mine.
your looks perfect. Why is my butternut squash
See what
still?
yours looks like.
They are still whole cubes.
Yeah. Well, it's probably, mine were frozen, so when they freeze vegetables, they flash freeze, they flash cook them before they freeze them to kill the enzymes. Is that right, Joe?
In most cases, that blanching or something of that sort is used.
Right.
I don't know specifically on squash, but my guess is yes. And the freezing itself breaks down some of the cell wall texture. So when you start, and you cooked it for an hour, you also said you roasted it. for an
I roasted mine for an hour, so I think that's what the difference is here.
Yeah, so you had a lot of differences. Did you, I was going to ask before you roasted, did you steam them first
No.
as using the bag or just take them straight out?
I just took it straight out and just dumped it in a pan and turned the oven on 400 and forgot about it for an hour. Which maybe I shouldn't have. Then I had a panic moment. I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I burned it and then I don't have the squash to do the cooking dough?
So at some point, do you use a blender or an immersion blender or something to?
Yeah.
Okay. That's one
That's
reason I love making butternut squash soup, because I just love using the immersion blender. It's so much fun.
So that's what Stella actually borrowed mine. That's the only thing I've ever used that immersion blender for. Mary Kay, have you
Yeah.
used anything else? The stick blender? No, I'm gonna use my Vitamix.
How much longer am I going to wait for this?
I don't know.
You
That is a beautiful thing because you don't have to take it out of the pot. You just do the whole thing in the pot and then you're done. Where mine's gonna have to come out of the pot and go in the other.
yeah, I really want to use the stick blender to start smashing it now. Maybe it's not appropriate. I don't know.
Is that a non-stick pan though, Stella?
It
Because
is
the
non-stick. It is a-
immersion blender might damage the finish.
Yeah, right.
You know what
That's
I
what I-
use for mine? When I don't want to use my Vitamix, like in a small amount, I just use my potato masher.
Oh, that's a great idea. I like
Mm.
it.
Yeah,
Do you have a potato masher there?
definitely not. I can't have that many things.
Just have stuff up to Rochester, not Buffalo.
So, Stella, can you please put yourself back on as
Yes.
opposed to the words?
Oh, sure. Oh,
Thank
wait.
you.
I always forget.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Yeah, so no, I don't have a ton of kitchen equipment, but I do have a lot because I constantly move around the country. I went to high school in Pennsylvania, in Lancaster. So,
Yay, Pennsylvania.
and then I went to Penn State as my undergrad. I moved 2 campuses. So,
Mm.
yeah, over the past 6 to 7 years, I moved probably like 8 times.
Wow.
From host families to I have 3 different host families. So during my years in high school, I've moved at least 3 times, and then in college 4 times. Yeah. So can't
I'm
have 2.
gonna puree mine. So I'm gonna mute it because you don't want to hear the Vitamix.
Okay.
Nobody likes to hear.
Cool it down. Or is that needed? Can't hear you. looks good. I bet that one's loud.
Stella, you might want to, before you use that immersion blender, then is just take one of your other pots that is a non-stick traditional pot and just pour it over. I mean, it makes an extra dirty dish, but you don't want to ruin that pot.
Yeah, true. This one is a
That's right.
beautiful pot though.
That's why I use my stainless steel stock pot when I'm making that soup because I know I'm going to use
Yep.
the immersion blender.
But my immersion blender has the blade recessed up in it a little bit, so it never touches the bottom of the pan.
Ooh, let me see.
Same.
I think mine is like that also, Carol, but I'm just worried about even the bottom of the blender is still kind of sharp.
Oh, mine is plastic.
Doesn't,
Mine's a stainless steel one.
yep, this one doesn't touch, so great.
And using a potato masher in a nonstick pan would or could really mar the
Right.
the things on the pan.
Now I know what would be the difference between the veggie and chicken stock. The veggie stock's gonna be darker in color for my presentation. Yep, anyway,
I'm gonna put mine back in the same container that I roasted in, just so I don't have to do one more dish.
great.
Yeah, although I'm probably gonna have a couple of them. So I got these
Mine is soft.
Alex dishes, so I can put the lid on it. Is yours soft? Are you gonna try the immersion blender now?
Yep, I'm ready to use that.
And so I heard, Betsy, you use a Vitamix too, right?
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
Although I was doing so many, we used to live in Illinois and I did worked for the park district out there, and I would do cooking classes for kids and adults, and I don't know how many blenders I burned through. A lot. So I found this one survived the longest, 4 or 5 years. Oh,
Oh,
beautiful.
but Kelly, I actually don't use it for my butternut squash soup because I do use the potato masher, because usually it's just for me and my husband and I don't mind a few lumps. So
Right.
Hey, Lorraine, you made that comment in the chat about the Green Planet store in Trip.
Are they
I think
Does anybody know what it's actually called? Because I'm trying to find it and I can't.
Lorraine left.
Oh,
She had an appointment. I think she did leave.
Yeah,
Does anybody know what the store might be that she was talking about?
Well, it's
the
called
green plant.
it's called Planted Earth Hydroponics and Gardening Supplies in the Trip Hammer Mall. Planted Earth.
Okay, I have that on my website and I can't, I'm trying to find grow tower, plant tower. I can't get any result. Does anybody have another word I can use?
Aero Garden,
Oh, just Arrow Garden.
AERO Garden. Does that work?
Wait, my computer's being very contrary.
I just plugged in Tower Garden and everything popped up.
Well, I think she's talking about the specific planet, or that planet store, that particular store. Is that right, Joanne?
Yeah, that's right. I'm not getting any of this stuff.
I feel like it closed because I believe
Oh,
Mullen was the principal behind it, and then who I know from Department of Nutrition, Stella. And I think at some point I saw the place was now empty because it's right next to the dentist's office.
I was just there this morning. I'm thinking like I stopped to make an appointment at the dentist. My kids are going to the dentist there. They stopped to make an appointment, and I'm thinking, I was just there. I don't remember seeing anything like that at all. But I mean, that's the thing with the pandemic. A lot of businesses are closing that they just can't afford to keep
And
going.
I was really surprised. I went over to that mall last month to go to there was an Ace, there used to be an Ace Hardware there. That
Right,
was kind of
They're closed.
locally.
right. Yeah, that
And I-
closed.
They
Yeah.
closed a long time ago.
Yeah.
What I
But-
liked about it is, like I said, not only were they local, but they were really good at, if I had questions or was looking for something and I wasn't sure what it was.
Yeah.
So I was really disappointed
Yeah, I
that they
know.
weren't there.
But Joanne, to your point, if that store is no longer there and the Aero Garden requires replacement parts, that's something to think about.
Yeah.
I know that my friend that does the Juice Plus, like she orders them from someplace in Arizona that grows them. So she gets hers already gone, and you can, I'll show you what the little things look like that go inside mine.
Paula, the reuse has taken over that Ace Hardware, and they took.
Yeah, I saw that they have kind of their own hardware.
Oh, they have taken over that.
They're selling it at regular retail.
Like, so, and you can, so I have to redo some of my plans. So it feels a little daunting. I may just order the ones from Arizona that my friend has. Might be Merry Christmas to me to get my thing going. Yeah, I've been to the reuse part that they have a lot of the Ace stuff is still there and it's discounted quite a bit.
Oh,
I mean,
discounted.
they've gotten rid of most of their things, but they're basically, I think they just having reused, try to sell off their stock basically, but they've had different sales on it.
I was there a couple of months ago and I thought the prices were quite high, actually. So maybe they've realized they're not going to sell it if they.
I think so. I think so.
I was looking as much for the helpful advice from the
Mhm.
staff there, so I wouldn't think they have the same people there now.
It's not the same people. Well, the reuse staff is pretty awesome, but I do the same thing. Like I prefer to go to Agway. I want a store where they can take me by the hand and show me what to buy. I can't deal with like going into the big box store and trying to find stuff. So I am going to have to sign off a few minutes early. I'm going to leave you in Stella's capable hands. Does folks have any ideas of what they'd like to see us cook next month?
Is there any such thing as a healthy macaroni and cheese recipe?
Sure. Yes, there is. We could do that. That actually would be great because, as you know, Food Net Meals on Wheels we're famous for our mac and cheese bowl. And this year, we are now going to have a mac and cheese crawl. When I first thought about that, I thought we were really going to go bar to bar. But it's actually different restaurants are going to be selling their mac and cheese. So yeah, we could do mac and cheese next time. That's a nice winter comfort food.
Yeah, comfort food. And in the future, it doesn't matter to me when it is, but I would love to see some recipes for healthy desserts.
We could do a healthy dessert too. Yeah. Oh, black bean brownies. That's one of my favorites.
Black
Yeah.
bean brownies?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Have you ever
I thought-
tried black bean brownies before?
no, I've never even
Oh,
heard of
it sounds
them.
like we're going to be making black bean brownies next time.
No, if Joanne wants mac and
Oh,
cheese,
that's okay. No, it's okay.
no, we can, we've got this relationship going. We'll get them going. We'll get one or the other next time. And
We love the ideas because we want to make what you guys are, what folks are interested in. So I would love to, I have to leave a little bit early, but Stella will keep entertaining you with her cooking and more nutrition information. So this is what mine came out, and I'm going to clean my Vitamix. I just put the soap and water in it, and I make a soap smoothie, and as long as I remember to put the lid on. Otherwise, I'm cleaning the walls in my house, and they're really, or not. Bye, everybody. Thanks
Thank
so
you,
much for
Kelly.
being here. Good to see you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
It's me here now. Yep. So my soup is done as well. It's very, I know there's a couple big chunk in here still, but yep, can be perfect. I'm not serving it in the restaurant, but I'm trying to make it look pretty. So garnishing. Okay. And just going to be classic and put a drizzle of cream here, half and half actually. Now this one looks like the picture, right?
Ah, beautiful.
Right?
Can you imagine a dollop of plain yogurt in that?
Creme fraiche.
Yep.
Sour cream, yeah, whatever.
I don't have any of those.
But that would do okay though in there, I would think too.
Right. Okay. So I think, yep, that's everything I have today.
Well, thank
Stella,
you.
we're not
Thank
going to
you.
see you again,
Yeah,
right?
Good
Good
luck
luck.
to you.
One more week.
Luck to you. Thank you.
Thank you
Good
so
luck
much.
to you, Stella.
Thank you so
Happy holidays.
fun. Really
Thank
did.
Thank you. Happy
Happy
holidays.
Yeah, you too.
Happy
Have
holidays, everybody.
And everybody stay safe and well.